Welcome to the Wall of Soundtrack, a show where we discuss the music and soundtracks behind the very best TV shows and motion pictures. For this episode, we'll be analyzing and dissecting the music and soundtrack behind Martin Scorsese's crime drama thriller, The Departed. Hey guys, a few announcements. I have moved the podcast over from the SoundCloud platform over to Podbean. So the podcast will now be available on Podbean, but as a result, it will also be available on Spotify as well. So if you open up your Spotify app and search for Rotunes Reviews, you can find the latest episodes there. Also, I will be releasing a new episode of the Brewtune podcast where I'll be pairing the Omaha, Nebraska rock band 311 with their signature beer, the Rock Brothers 311 Amber Ale. So if you're a fan of 311 and you're familiar with the Rock Brothers line of beers, be sure to check this episode out. And lastly, as we approach Veterans Day, I want to give a big shout out to all our veterans. Thank you so much for your service and support. Without you all, we would not be able to live in this great country. So once again, thank you so much for your service. The Departed is a film that was released in 2006. It was directed by Martin Scorsese and written by William Monahan. The film is actually a remake of a Chinese crime drama thriller called Infernal Affairs that was released in 2002. The film is actually a departure from Scorsese's usual portrayal of Italian-American crime families in New York City, as it shifts to the Irish mob in Boston, Massachusetts. The film won 4 Academy Awards for Best Picture, Best Director, Best Adapted Screenplay, and Best Film Editing. Mark Wahlberg was also nominated for Best Supporting Actor. The Departed had an all-star cast of actors and actresses including Leonardo DiCaprio as undercover cop Billy Costigan, Matt Damon as Detective Colin Sullivan, Jack Nicholson as gangster Frank Costello, Mark Wahlberg as Staff Sergeant Dignam, Martin Sheen as Captain Queenan, Alec Baldwin as Captain Ellerby, Ray Winstone as Mr. French, and Vera Farmiga as psychiatrist Madeline. The score was done by Howard Shore, whose other work includes The Fly, Big, Copland, and the Lord of the Rings trilogy. My returning guest for this discussion is Cy Shackelford. Cy is a graduate of the University of Connecticut, and I think that's why he does such a great Boston accent. We had a lot of fun recording this episode. Cy is also one of the main writers for the entertainment commentary and review website, Action A Go-Go. You can follow Cy's articles on the website, www.actionagogo.com, and you can also follow him on Twitter. His Twitter handle is @Shack_House83. Here's my discussion with Cy on the music and soundtrack behind Martin Scorsese's crime drama thriller, The Departed. All right, Cy, thanks for joining me. How are you?
Doing good. How are you doing, Andrew?
Doing great. So have you seen any new movies lately, or?
Yeah, I saw Venom last week, the Tom Hardy, where he plays the title character, Venom, the Marvel Comics character, but I don't recommend it for anybody to go see. It sucked.
And why did you think it sucked?
It's not that... Okay, Venom is heavily connected to Spider-Man in the book, and in the old Spider-Man cartoon in the 90s. So a lot of people, they see Venom, they immediately associate that with Spider-Man. The fact that Spider-Man wasn't in it, that did not bother me. But it felt like, here's how I felt the film was. It felt like they just took just a little bit of the source material, threw it against the wall, and threw a lot of other things against the wall, and just ran with whatever stuck.
Gotcha.
And it just didn't work for me.
And it was directed by Todd Phillips, right?
Todd Phillips? No. He's going to do the Joker movie.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. I don't remember who directed this one.
Gotcha.
But because of what it grossed or whatever, I think they're probably going to do a sequel. But if it comes to that, I'm not going to go see it.
Yeah. Are you thinking about seeing the Joker as well?
Yes, I am. I mean, even though there have been plenty of Jokers over the years, Jack Nicholson, Heath Ledger, Jared Leto, and now Joaquin Phoenix, they've all been portrayed by good people, by actors who are considered pretty good, right? Actors that I like to watch perform on screen. So I'm going to give it a chance.
Yeah, and then the film The Mule is coming out. I saw a preview of that with Clint Eastwood. That looks pretty good.
It does. Eastwood, he knows how to direct a film and knows how to tell good stories. And he usually gets good actors in there as well, too. I mean, if he's in this one himself as well, too, is he?
Yeah, he's in it as well. It looks like it's like a drug, kind of a drug theme, like the mule being like the guy who transports the drugs over
drugs across
borders.
the borders. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I'm interested in seeing that to see what kind of story he tells. Yeah, because how old is he now? He's like 80, then near 90 now.
Yeah, and he's still doing it though. He's still putting out great films.
Yeah, I mean, the last film I remember buying by him was American Sniper, which I got in my Blu-ray collection, which I thought was dope. I mean, and Bradley Cooper as the title character. Yeah, he should have got an Oscar win for that one.
Yeah, he's a phenomenal actor, and he's going to be in that new movie with Lady Gaga.
Yeah, and Dave Chappelle, the A Star Is Born.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that's going to be an interesting project for him. I guess he's writing and directing it.
Yeah, it's a kind of a Vandy project. He wrote, directed, and stars in it.
And it'll be Lady Gaga's first debut in a film.
Yeah, it will be. It will be her first debut, actually. Yeah.
And it's weird because I didn't really recognize her at first because I guess she kind of has her on stage makeup and kind of like
she always wears like elaborate costumes. I'd never even seen the real Lady Gaga before.
Yeah. So that'll be interesting. So what's new with Action A Go Go?
Well, we're under a new managing editor now, and her name's Angela Knight. She's real good, and she got us all together to do certain horror film pieces for the website. Because of course it's October, so we're celebrating Halloween. So we got together and did a Halloween retrospective of the original series of Halloween since a new one debuted recently.
That was Rob Zombie, right? That directed it, or
I don't think Rob Zombie did this one.
Okay, he did one. Didn't he do one of them?
He did one or two. Yeah.
Okay, he's a great director.
His Halloweens were actually pretty good. They weren't as bad as I thought they were going to be. Yeah, but this new Halloween, of course, it just discounts all the sequels and all the reboots. It's a direct sequel to John Carpenter's original 1978 Halloween.
Okay.
And what we recently did was we just gave our thoughts. We just put our hands in a bag, and whichever Halloween movie we got, we decided to write like a few paragraphs on it, our thoughts on it, a retrospective on it. I got Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers. Yeah. I watched it right before I did my piece again. It's been a long time since I've seen it, and like the only scary part in that was really the Danielle Harris at the end in the clown costume with the scissors.
Okay.
That's the most haunting image. Other than that, it's like typical 80s horror, not scary.
And then you did a piece on actually the Freddy Krueger series.
Yes, the Nightmare on Elm Street films. I did like a ranking of them, gave my thoughts on them. The one thing I regret not adding to that piece was saying this. The entire cast of Inception could have kicked his ass.
I just think, with a flick of a wrist, Wes Craven created a great horror series there.
He did, yeah. I mean, the first one where Freddy first starts out at, the first Nightmare on Elm Street, he was a genuine boogeyman. But then by the third film, he became the wisecracking Bond one-liner razor finger guy that we know now.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. They took like a comedy kind of turn towards it, like a black horror comedy.
Yeah, about a child molester who gets burned to death and comes back in your dreams.
Yeah, I don't think that's funny at all, you know?
No, it's not.
So yeah, they took an interesting turn with that one. Well, let's jump into The Departed. Okay. Let's talk about that. This is a great film, like an Irish mob film done by Martin Scorsese, so a little bit different than what he's used to doing with the more Italian
and New York City area as well too.
Yeah, and that was actually his first Academy Award win.
It was
as a director. Well overdue, I would say.
Long overdue. Yeah, he was nominated for Goodfellas for Best Director there, but the only Oscar that took home out of its 6 nominations was the Best Supporting Actor for Joe Pesci.
Yeah.
But The Departed, that one, it took the Oscars home that year. It took home Best Director, Best Picture, Best Adapted Screenplay, Best Film Editing. And Mark Wahlberg, who plays Staff Sergeant Sean Dignam in the film, he was nominated for Best Supporting Actor as well.
Yeah, he was great. Just an all-star cast across the board with Nicholson, Martin Sheen,
Matt Damon,
Alec Baldwin, who's kind of the comedy.
Yeah, he is.
He's so funny. I mean, this film is, I love it so much because there's so many different aspects to it. I mean, you have the crime element, then you have the comedy element, and there's some kind of
There's the character study in there as well too.
Yeah, there's lots of twists and turns, and I think that's represented in the soundtrack as well with some of the picks by Howard Shore, especially the Departed Tango. I feel like really kind of fits in when the plot's developing.
It does.
You have that string kind of acoustic guitar piece, and it just works really well. Like a tango, because
it is.
The tango has many different parts to the dance. So.
It does, as is the film.
Yeah. So it's a great film. It's one of my favorites. I love the editing in this film too.
Although some parts in it really, it's like, even though they go from like cut from scene to scene, in some parts you can tell it's like, okay, that they didn't really catch that right there.
Yeah.
But
jump cuts. They have like jump cuts, and they cue in the music at certain times, and then they'll just stop it like randomly.
And even when you can tell like the dialogue vocals were out of sync with the mouth movement.
Yeah.
Like at the end when Matt Damon's getting beat by DiCaprio on the roof, he's like, "You got fucking tapes of what? Costello was my informant." You can tell when you watch it, it's like it's not synced up.
Yeah, yeah. So they do some interesting things. There's also one thing I noticed that was kind of interesting. It's with the lighting and like. If you see them walk into the police headquarters, you see like the office lights. It's almost like a cross on the wall. And somebody wrote an article about that, about Martin Scorsese's like symbolism of having crosses or X's, like a crux, which represents like death.
Death.
Yeah.
Usually when that happens, someone is going to die or is in the process of dying.
Yeah, and even in the ending, there's like a piece of tape, like an X behind what's it? Matt Damon, and then there's also one
in a window where Queenan was being thrown out off the building.
Yeah, yeah, you see it at different points, but just interesting things that Scorsese throws in there. But let's jump into the soundtrack here. So the first song is Rolling Stones' "Gimme Shelter," pretty much a classic for Scorsese. It's been in a couple of his films.
Yeah, it was originally included on the Rolling Stones album "Let It Bleed" from 1969, I believe.
Yeah,
and it was heavily featured and heavily influenced by the Vietnam War at the time. And yeah, Scorsese, he uses this song in a lot of his films. He used it in Goodfellas. He used a live version of it in Casino.
Right. Yeah, he's a huge fan of the Rolling Stones. He did Shine a Light.
Yeah, that
documentary film for the Rolling Stones. And this I love it because it plays in the beginning of the film, and you get that intro where Nicholson, Costello's doing the voiceover, talking about the history of Boston.
And the Irish, how they play a role in that, and the busing, the desegregation of the schools.
During Nixon, yeah, when he had the busing and all of that.
1971, yeah.
1971. And I love it because it also kind of fits in perfectly with the theme of the film. It's got kind of a crime theme.
Yeah.
And the lyrics in the song, when you look at it, it says, I think it's like, she says like, rape, murder, you know, there's that. Then there's, the, if I don't get some shelter, I'm going to fade away.
Right.
I just think it just works perfectly with the theme.
It's used in the intro, and the other time it's used in The Departed is when, Matt Damon's character, Colin, his girlfriend, Madeline Madden, played by Vera Farmiga, when she moves in with him.
Yeah.
It's playing there. And when he looks at her personal effects, like family photos, like these aren't going up, these are going in a drawer. He's like, what? Like, you don't see no pictures of my family around nowhere.
Yeah.
I mean, no offense, but
it's almost like he doesn't want to have his past out there because it's like, it's sketchy.
He's ashamed of where he comes from. It's like he grew up poor in South Boston, raised by his grandmother, and his father was only mentioned once in the intro scene when Nicholson's character asked him, "You Johnny Sullivan's kid?"
Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm. And then you see the guy, the guy who owns the grocery store, just putting stuff in the get
him 4 loaves of bread.
Yeah.
Get him some cold cuts.
It's like, okay, that this is like sketchy. That Nicholson has some sort of like is extorting the guy or
pretty much. And it's like, and you ain't doing this out of the goodness of your heart neither.
Yeah, you're doing it because you have to, or because I'm going to break your skull if you don't, right? Mm-hmm. So, excuse me. Yeah, and then we go over to the Dropkick Murphys. I'm Shipping Up to Boston. A great song, classic.
It made famous by this film, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I knew the song beforehand, but it's like, okay, this is used used a lot in this film. And it being a Boston film, and the Dropkick Murphys, they're from Quincy, Massachusetts, and they're of Irish descent as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it fits in with the movie and its themes.
And it's a very heavy song. It's very energetic. I hear it a lot at like, St. Patrick's Day celebrations. So it definitely has the Irish theme there. The band's from Boston. And, like you said, you were telling me that this song was actually written by Woody Guthrie.
Yeah, it was written by him, yeah. But the Dropkick Murphys, they were the first to actually perform it.
Yeah, and I guess they made it really popular.
Yeah, they did.
And then, the lyrics go along, I'm shipping up to Boston, whoa,
And it's also used in Fenway Park and Gillette Stadium for the Boston Red Sox and the New England Patriots. And in some of those NFL credit card commercials or whatever, where they feature a lot of fans in Patriots gear. If you see that, if you watch football, NFL football, you'll see that during the commercials, I'm sure.
Yeah, I like how they include it in the jail scene where Billy is, they're kind of he's doing
his real jail time as part of his cover.
Yeah, his undercover. So you hear like the music, and then it just gets real loud when they cut to that scene, and he's walking down kind of the line to get their like clothes and stuff,
personal effects.
And then that guy's asking him, he's like, "Are you Billy Costigan?"
Yeah, who wants to know?
He's like Sean Costigan. He's like smart. He's not smart though. Like
yeah, I know. I mean, no offense, no, it's cool.
Yeah, yeah.
And an interesting part about that scene is when Billy's using those books to do push-ups in his cell. Yeah. That's a nod to another Scorsese film, Cape Fear, where De Niro, he's doing that when we first see him in jail. Okay. The day he gets released, he's doing the exact same thing on books as well.
Yeah, that De Niro was awesome in that.
Oh yeah,
freaky.
Yeah, he went full method for that role. He actually got his teeth ground up and did a lot of exercises to make it look like 14 years worth of jail time.
Yeah, I mean he's going to be in the film that Scorsese's doing, The Irishman.
Yeah, it'll be their first time back together since Casino back in '95.
Yeah, it'll be De Niro, it'll be Al Pacino who plays Jimmy Hoffa, and then Pesci will be in it. I think Anna Paquin's in it.
Oh, they got all the Oscar.
Ray Romano's in it too.
Ray Romano. People sleep on Ray Romano. I mean, he hasn't had that much time in movies, but he's funny actually.
And I think he was in Scorsese's show on HBO, the one about the record business. I'm blanking on the name of it.
Not The Deuce, that's the porno one.
Yeah, that's the David Simon piece. But Ray Romano was in Scorsese's piece, show series about the record business. I'm just blanking on the name of it.
I remember it only ran for one season, didn't it?
Yeah. But that should be epic.
Looking forward to it.
And then we go to Nas, which is the next song, Thief's Theme. We hear it during a sequence where
Billy and his cousin are selling drugs.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're selling drugs in Boston at night after Billy convinces Sean, is like, I'm not a cop, dude. I'm your fucking cousin.
Yeah.
Like, you must be my cousin, you corrupt fuck.
Yeah. I love that actor. What's his name?
Kevin Corrigan.
Kevin Corrigan. And he was in American Gangster, too.
Yeah, he was one of the people that Richie Roberts, Russell Crowe's character, beat up.
Yeah.
He was in the first Bad Boys. He was in Goodfellas, too, as, what's-his-face's brother. He was Michael Hill. He was Henry Hill's brother in the wheelchair.
Okay, yeah.
He's a good actor. He's a good character actor. In this film, when he says, fucking Ricans think they know everything. If they knew everything, they wouldn't be Puerto Ricans. P is for pig, R is for Ricans. I'm like, you Puerto Rican in real life. Half Puerto Rican.
That's what I like about this film is there's so much there's racial humor.
Yeah.
That reminds me a little bit of Gran Torino. And I think Gran Torino maybe ups the ante a little bit more, but
it does. I mean, I don't know about humor, but it's a lot of racial statements in there.
Yeah. And this song, Nas Thief's Theme, I think goes really well. I think it kind of gets the criminal element there.
Because play me at night, they don't act right. That line, it's perfect for a nighttime song, especially when they're doing the kind of business that they're doing.
Yeah.
An interesting thing about the song, the beat, it samples Inagata da Vida by Iron Butterfly.
Yeah. Which,
if you recall, was used heavily in Manhunter.
Yeah, at the end.
Mm-hmm.
And that movie's crucial. I think it's kind of cool in this scene in The Departed where this song comes on, you don't really know if they just ripped off the Puerto Ricans that they were doing the drug deal with, but it seems like it pissed off, French and all of the other, Costello's crew, because they tell him, they're like, if you do one more stupid drug deal with your cousin, he's like, I'm gonna kill you.
He said, I'll cut your fucking nuts off.
Yeah.
I'll forget your grandmother was ever so nice to me.
Yeah.
But I think really what it was about was this Costello's territory. They didn't have his permission.
Yeah.
Not that they were ripping Puerto Ricans off.
Yeah. Yeah. You're probably right.
Because he said, sorry. I'll go. Yeah. He says, because Sean, he says in the scene that we're not even supposed to be doing this shit this close to Worcester, this side of Worcester. Says who? Says Costello. Says God, as far as we're concerned.
Yeah, you do a good Boston accent.
I went to UConn for 4 years. I learned New England accents.
and you were right too about, the Nas and Marty Scorsese are both from New York, so I feel like Marty using this song in there is kind of a nod to Nas, and I think you were telling me too that Nas had actually used Casino as an inspiration for a music video.
Yeah, for his song Street Dreams, which came out in '96 on his album It Was Written. Yeah, Nas even confirmed that he liked Casino and wanted to pay homage to it. So I guess Martin Scorsese using the Thief's theme here was him saying, thanks for that. Let me show my appreciation.
Yeah, that's cool. And then the next song we go to here is the Allman Brothers' One Way Out, which is played in
the bar scene.
The bar scene, which is one of my favorite scenes in the movie, just because of how intense it gets.
And plus, there's a lot of post 9/11 symbolism. Like they got like the United We Stand American flag in there somewhere that's in plain sight. All the things that are going on in this scene.
There's a lot going on in there. Billy sits down, and then the guy sitting next to him, is giving him shit because he's drinking a cranberry.
Yeah.
He's like, "What is it? What is it? Your period?"
And Billy just uses the perfect time to go ballistic on the guy.
Yeah, it escalates real fast. But this Allman Brothers song, I feel like, is perfect. I feel like you would hear this in a bar. It's kind of a blues rock feel to it.
A lot of the songs you hear in this soundtrack are perfect for the bar.
Yeah, it's definitely something you would hear in the bar. And the lyrics fit, I feel like, the intensity of the scene. The lyrics are "Ain't but one way out, baby. Lord, I just can't get out the door." There's a few things I think about these lyrics. One, I think really represents the violence, and in the sense that "Ain't but one way out, baby. Lord, I just can't get out the door." I feel like he's kind of saying that there's no. You have to kind of use. There's one way you either go down or you fight. You either fight or you go down or you die trying, right?
Yeah, there's no way out.
There's no way out. You go out fighting or you die.
And considering the ending, it's like, everybody dies.
That's exactly what happens to Billy and
Colin.
Colin, yeah. So, yeah, they definitely fall in line with the themes.
But the scene, though, itself, where Frenchie lays down the ground rules after Billy attacks the dude's like, that ain't quite a guy you can't hit, but it's almost a guy you can't hit.
Yeah.
It reveals that he knows Billy, he knows Billy's family. Because Billy Costigan, him and his father are born to a family of Irish American criminals in Boston.
Yeah.
But because of their last name, they're always marked. So Billy wanted to become a cop in order to offset all that, to escape his background. But his background is why he was chosen to go undercover.
Yeah. And I love the acting by Ray Winstone.
Yeah.
He's
English actor.
Yeah. And he's just like, he's like, what are you drinking? He's like, a cranberry juice. He's like, what is it? Your period? and Billy just gives him that look. Like really? Too? Yeah.
And he beats up the guy that Billy fucked up with the glass. Hey, fuckhead, that's Jackie's nephew.
And then he punches him out.
Oh, fucking what? Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. And they kind of speed up the editing there too to make it look like.
And everybody's like.
Everybody looks, yeah. Yeah, some great editing there. And then, so the next song we go to is The Human Beings, if I'm pronouncing that right. Nobody But Me.
Yeah, this is like their only hit. And it was a cover of a song by the R&B group, the Isley Brothers.
Isley Brothers, yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this this is the scene where they're in the market, right?
Yeah, they're in the market / deli or whatever, and Billy's just sitting there eating while some Italian gangsters from Rhode Island, they're trying to shake down the store owner, Singh, who's Indian.
Yeah,
he's they keep calling him Babu.
He's like, you keep calling me Sing. It's Babu. Or no, he goes,
calling me
you
Babu.
call me Babu. It's Sing, motherfucker. Yeah. he's like, why are you telling me you're my friend?
Well,
he's
you
like,
don't even know my name.
You don't even fucking know my name.
Then Billy, he hears him, but what sets Billy off really is really when they start talking shit about Irish people. Like, you opened up a store in an Irish neighborhood. Okay, these are dirty, dirty people. Go sell some fucking potatoes.
And that guy who's saying that is Armin Garo, who is in The Sopranos. He played Coco.
Yeah. Probably why they got him in this too.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that film was released around maybe a year before the last season of The Sopranos.
It was. 2007 was the last season, and this was 2006, The Departed.
Yeah, yeah. So I think that, and then, they include actually the soundtrack in the last season of The Sopranos. We'll get to that though.
Right.
Yeah, this is definitely one of those songs that
Billy fucked those dudes up, but it ends up fucking up his own hand in the process too.
Yeah, yeah.
And fucks up the guy's store.
Yeah.
What the fuck is wrong with you fucking people? Get out of here! Get out of here!
Yeah, man. And that scene every time, he's like, Babu. He's like, Sing, motherfucker.
Oh, he beat them dudes up though.
Yeah, and it definitely, the intensity's there. That song,
But that's what got him noticed by Costello.
Yeah, yeah. He's just trying to get in there and embed so he can
build a rep for himself.
Build a case, Mm-hmm. Yeah. But yeah, it's cool how Scorsese included the Armin Garo in there, and then he ends up being in the Sopranos. It's kind of like they're both kind of giving each other the nod there. David Chase and Martin Scorsese.
Yeah. And Scorsese knows a lot about film and actors and whatnot. He's a cinema buff.
And I feel like they both know a lot about music too.
They do.
We reviewed the Sopranos soundtrack
on our first episode. Yeah.
Yeah.
They know. They're clearly familiar with a lot of genres of music, even things that I hadn't even heard of yet until I watched it premiered on their show.
Yeah, and David Chase. He includes a lot of like Eric Clapton's music in the Sopranos.
Derek and the Dominoes. Yeah.
Yeah, and then so does Marty, and he did in Goodfellas with Sunshine of Your Love.
I think he included that and what's it called, Layla, the piano exit. Yeah. He included in the montage where Jimmy killed all the people involved in the Lufthansa heist. Yeah,
yeah. So definitely guys that know a lot about music. Our next song here, Rolling Stones, Let It Loose. Here's Scorsese, paying homage to the Rolling Stones again.
Again, yeah. This is from their 1972 album Exile on Main Street, which the CD itself actually makes an appearance in the film, in the scene where Billy Costigan, where he mails the recording to Colin Sullivan.
Okay.
And remember the CD case reads, "Play me now, call me at 555 such and such." That was Exile on Main Street right there.
Oh, nice. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, when I saw it, I had the album ever since college, and I saw it, I was like,
yeah.
I gave you props, Scorsese. This is why I like you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, he loves the Stones, and he definitely picks some really good songs from their catalog.
And this is a perfect bar song. So I remember several nights hearing this at Quarry House in downtown Silver Spring back when I was in my 20s. Wow, I sound old saying that.
Hey man, that's a good bar. Quarry House.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's a perfect bar song. It's a mix. The song itself is a mix of rock, gospel, and blues. And in the context of the movie, it's first played when Jack Nicholson's character, Frank Costello, first meets Billy Costigan.
Yeah. I think the title, Let It Loose, just fits perfectly with the character with Costello, because he does pretty much let it loose here. He's unpredictable in so many ways.
So many ways, even his dialogue. And word has it that, what's it called? The scene where we see them actually sitting at the bar, that wasn't in the script.
It was
Nicholson
improv.
just improv'd it, and DiCaprio said the trick was having to keep up with Nicholson.
Yeah, and it just intensifies. He's saying, he has that one line where he's like, "I'm not the cops. I'm not asking you."
Yeah, it's like,
so he tells him to walk in the back, and he starts interrogating him.
He has what's it called? Just take off your shoes. He's wearing Timberland boots too.
Yeah.
It's like you look like a '90s kid with all of them baggy clothes, Boston Red Sox caps, and Timberland boots.
Yeah, yeah, and then he's like,
I knew your father.
He's like, oh yeah, he never asked for money. He's like, yeah, that was his problem. He's like, who said he had a problem? That's what DiCaprio says. And then Nicholson
all
goes,
matter-of-factly.
Nicholson looks at me, he's like, I said he had a fucking problem.
Because the man could have been anything. And then they search his cast that he got after he beat up those Italian gangsters and whatnot at the convenient mart.
The way French looks at it, he's like,
Then starts slamming it down. Yeah, it's like DiCaprio's in pain.
Yeah, it just escalates so fast.
But before that, in the scene where he tells him that the Italians want him dead, and Nicholson's like, they will kill you unless I stop them. Would you like me to stop them? And then DiCaprio's like, shrugs, and he's like, something I can't handle by myself, can handle personally?
And then
they look at each other like, what the fuck?
Like, who is this guy?
Like, who is this guy? They're impressed, but it's like the balls in this kid.
Yeah. And then they start hitting his hand with
a Timberland boot.
I was like,
the question he kept asking him, like, are you swearing your mother's grave you're not a cop?
Yeah.
Are you gonna stop making drug deals with your jerk off fucking cousin? all right.
It's gonna be okay.
Here's some money. I'm sorry. Then he just throws the rest of the money down like that. It was necessary.
As with our problem with Providence.
Let's not cry over spilled guineas.
And then, of course, our next track by John Lennon cues up with Well, Well, Well.
Yeah.
Which, I like this song a lot because it's like you were telling me, this is like the heaviest song that John Lennon has done.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it's kind of random, but it also just kind of fits in.
A lot of the music feels random until you actually listen to the lyrics or listen to like even the instrumentals and figure out how it might fit in with the scene itself.
Yeah.
Like, this is one song right here that I had to look up. When I heard a little bit of the lyrics the first time I heard, I'm like, I gotta remember that. Then look it up on my computer when I went home. I'm like, this song is dope right here.
Yeah, and it's gangster. I mean, this song is gangster.
It has a heavy guitar riff, and Lennon's wails, his vocals just sound very primal.
Yeah. It like almost sounds like someone's getting killed, you know?
Which someone actually did get killed in the scene. Yeah. The Italians that Billy beat up, what's it called? The soldiers that they sent back to retaliate, Costello had them killed, then had Matt Damon's character blame it on some innocent store owner, a Greek guy, Jimmy Pappas.
Yeah.
Of course, he had nothing to do with it. He'll say he won't, but look in his car.
There will be a gun, registered, Providence.
Yeah, in the trunk of the glove compartment.
Yeah.
Okay.
No wonder you get ahead. He's like, hey, want to go see some dead guys?
Yeah. And it's still used in the scene, the next scene where Costello gets acquainted with Billy, and Billy's playing a dumb street kid. Like, you know who John Lennon was? Yeah, he was the president before Lincoln.
Yeah.
I'm like,
it's like, you're being a smartass to him right now. I wouldn't be a smartass to this guy. Like,
yeah, unless you really are that dumb.
Yeah, and then he pulls the hand out.
Yeah, the severed hand is still bloody with a ring on it.
He's like, give this to his wife. He's like, and then French is like, I love how you asked him what hand he jerks off with. And he's like, do you think this is gonna disturb like Martha? And he's like, as I recall, she ain't that sentimental.
Then it cuts to Billy in the bathroom. He was kind of disturbed by looking at the hand, but when he gets to the bathroom, he's taking the wires and shit off him.
Yeah,
like, fuck all this.
He's like, he throws it into the water. He's like, and then Dignam is like, wow, is he dead already?
That's quick. Is he dead already?
But and then the irony there, the severed hand. He's like asking Billy. He's like, trying to figure out how he's going to be useful to his like crime syndicate, and there he is holding a hand.
Yeah.
The irony, it's like, you take away somebody's hand, they can't really be useful. Right?
And the fact that he was using John Lennon, whose song was playing in the background too.
Yeah.
He was saying, John Lennon once said, if you get me a tuba, I'll get you something out of it.
Yeah.
Point being, what can I use you for?
Yeah, and man, that is another great scene there. Disturbing as well.
It is. It just shows how just Costello really just doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah. And then we go to what's that? Joe Cuba with Bang Bang. This is another funny scene because
they're shaking down somebody who owes Costello money.
Yeah, bookie, and so it's French. It's French and Billy in this. I guess in this back room where the bookies are watching the games, and he's pissed because one of the bookies isn't paying him enough money.
Right.
So Billy is watching that, Jimmy Bags
Yeah.
when he's sitting down as French yells at the
other
other
guy,
guy. And the guy goes, Jimmy Bags goes into his pocket, and Billy thinks he's pulling a gun, so he whacks
pistol
him.
whips him with a gun.
Whips him, yeah.
And knocks out like 4 of his teeth.
Yeah.
It's like, I was reaching for my fucking cigarettes.
He's like French is like, hey,
what the fuck?
That's Jimmy Bags.
I mean, Billy's like, he was reaching for... I don't know.
What the fuck are you doing?
And even as the other guy's talking, the French still can't take his eyes off Billy, like, what the fuck? Yeah, so make more fucking money.
He's like, if I don't give you the money, he's like, if I don't make
America.
he's like, if I don't have any money this week, I still gotta pay you. He's like, well, this is America.
You don't make money, you're a fucking douchebag. So what are you gonna do?
Make more money.
That's the spirit. And they walk out. Billy's like, I'm sorry about what I did. He don't worry about it. The guy don't need his fucking teeth. No way.
Yeah, and I think that the title "Bang Bang" it goes well with it because it's like the guy pretty much took a bang bang to his like teeth.
Yeah, and broke his jaw, broke the dude's jaw. But he didn't know that Jimmy Bags is actually undercover detective with the Boston Police Department.
Yeah, and the artist here, Joe Cuba, he was conga drummer, right?
Yeah, he was Puerto Rican, raised in New York City, and he's considered the father of the whole Latin boogaloo, which combined like Latin rhythms with the '60s soul music.
So why do you think that like Scorsese decided to pick that one and put it in there?
Probably because of the rhythm, because of the conga rhythm and the snares and whatnot. They do deliver hard, and they're very memorable the way the melody is used. And plus, Scorsese used it again 8 years later in The Wolf of Wall Street, which also starred Leonardo DiCaprio. In the scene where DiCaprio works for that firm in that Long Island strip mall and starts bringing in money.
Yeah,
they use it there.
That's cool how he reintroduced it into one of his later films.
Yeah, people will check out music if they know Marty Scorsese used it in their films. Like if you go on YouTube and you look up "Moving Out" by Billy Joel, you'll probably see the first comment up there says, "I'm here because Wolf of Wall Street brought me here."
Yeah, I see that a lot on YouTube too.
Mm-hmm. That's what I'm saying for a lot of songs.
Yeah, and then our next one's Patsy Cline, "Sweet Dreams of You."
Yeah,
and this is played when Billy and Frank are in the restaurant.
Yeah,
right?
They're in the restaurant. Yeah, and it's the first time the song is used in the film. They're in the restaurant the first time during the day, and Costello is eyeing some nun lecherously while drawing something. But then he goes on to say, and what's interesting about this scene is this is back when you could still smoke inside of a restaurant.
Yeah,
because you see Billy smoking a cigarette. And Costello was telling Billy about his father, things he didn't know about his father. Like, you thought your father wasn't a criminal. True, he wasn't, but he could fuck some people up and kill them.
Yeah, yeah. And then you hear him ask Billy. He's like, "Have you ever thought about going back to school?" What does he mean by that?
I guess like going back on the straight and narrow or whatever, or becoming a cop again. Because as far as Costello knows, he was a cop trainee but got kicked out for assault and served time in jail. Right.
So maybe he's referring back to what Colin is doing, being a mole inside of the police department.
That, or go along with his because remember, Billy he's a child of divorce, I guess. His father stayed in the Southie Projects and was a baggage handler at the airport, and his mother was rich and well off. So he stayed with his mother and was going to private schools and whatnot. But on the weekends, he stayed with his father and pretended to be a street kid from South Boston.
Okay, gotcha. Did you ever wonder what the box was that Colin received after he graduates from the police academy?
I did. You know what it reminds me of? Whatever was in the suitcase in Pulp Fiction.
Right. It is kind of like you just see the gold kind of light when he opens up the suitcase. And
everybody sees it, they're mesmerized by it. But Colin, for him, it was something personal.
Maybe it's money. Who knows? I mean, maybe it's like the keys, or maybe to that apartment. I don't know how he bought it, because remember that
the realtor guy was like, "How can you afford this apartment on a staff sergeant, state police's salary?
Right.
I have to co-sign it. Give me the fucking papers."
So let's talk about the lyrics here, the
Patsy Cline song.
Yeah. So what do you think of the lyrics?
I think that "Sweet dreams of you, every night I go through. Why can't I forget you and start my life anew?" I think that refers to the double life that Billy Costigan and Colin Sullivan, they both have, being moles to their respective institutions. And Billy came to for the cops in order to escape his family's criminal identity, to build himself anew. But that's exactly why they made him a cop in the first place, an undercover cop, because of his family's history.
Gotcha.
Colin, he came up from a poor upbringing, and he's kind of ashamed of that. But what's it called? He wants to use the state police, even being a mole as he is in the state police. He wants to use that to further his ambition to be a lawyer. He wants to escape Costello as well, as much as he wanted to escape where he came from, in South Boston.
And then this song fades.
Dreams of their ideal self. I'm sorry. Yeah,
no worries. And then this song transitions when they get up from the table.
Yeah.
And Costello walks over to the two priests. It transitions over to the Beach Boys.
Sail on, Sailor.
Yeah,
I love that song.
And this is a real funny scene because it's kind of Scorsese's commentary on the Catholic Church.
Yeah, and him growing up Catholic as well.
And he was actually going to be a Catholic priest at one point, to my knowledge, and then he just he dropped out of it.
So did Tom Cruise, actually. Interesting postscript to that.
Yeah, that is interesting. So then, he Costello starts kind of
taunting them, talking shit to them.
Yeah, and I feel like this is definitely Scorsese's commentary on the Catholic Church and the problems with the Catholic Church
and the sex scandal and whatnot.
Yeah, and Boston has a high concentration of Irish Catholic.
They do, yes, and Italian Roman Catholics as well too.
Yeah,
and they weren't, and odds are that the sex scandal extended to their Catholic churches as well. And Costello says his parting words, and what he says, "Enjoy your clams, cocksuckers." And even when his girlfriend goes to,
what did you have to say to that
anointed pederast, the confessional seal these days? I'm not so sure.
He just kind of throws in the zingers against the Catholic Church.
Probably because this character was probably abused too.
Probably, and they're still dealing with those problems today.
There is.
Unfortunately.
And the second time the Patsy Cline song was used in another scene with Billy and Costello, again in a restaurant, but at night, and it's empty. And Costello's also drawing in pencil again, but this time he's drawing some elaborate drawings of rats. Because now he's paranoid. He knows there's a rat in his organization, but he doesn't know that it's Billy. So he's interrogating him.
Yeah.
But Billy shows that he's got balls, and that's probably why Costello respects him, even when he puts a gun in his face.
I think that's one of the most brilliantly acted scenes in the whole entire movie is that rat, where he's talking about whether he's accusing Billy of
being a rat, and making all those rat faces, fucking cheese eating rat.
Yeah. He's like, I got this cheese-eating fucking rat in my crew. And it raises questions like, you're the new guy.
Yeah, you're the new guy. Why didn't you stay put at the safe house when French told you to?
And he's like, you accused me once. I take it. He's like, second time, he's like, I'm going to put a bullet in your fucking head.
And then Nicholson grabs a gun and just clocks it. Like, you got something you want to ask me?
Yeah.
But he lets him go. It's like he believes him at that point. But the scene where French is sitting across from him and Nicholson's like, excuse me, French, I forgot my cigarette. It's like, okay, Francis. he was looking at Billy.
Yeah, with a straight face.
Yeah. And Nicholson probably ad-libbed that scene too.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Because he kept saying, eat something.
Yeah. No, that's all right. Brilliantly acted scene. And then we go to the next track, which is one of my favorites. I have a lot to say about this one. Roger Waters and Van Morrison. And actually, I believe two members from
Pink Floyd or someone.
Two members from the band, which Scorsese actually did a movie on the band called The Last Waltz.
Oh, Scorsese did that?
Yeah.
I've seen The Last Waltz. I didn't know he was behind that.
Oh yeah, he was.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's cool. So he
something new every day.
Yeah. Okay. And so there's two members from the band that sing backup vocals for that with Van Morrison, and then there's Roger Waters doing the lead vocals. It's a real incredible song though. Van Morrison.
I was curious why he used a live version of Comfortably Numb. This live cover of it as opposed to the original version, which is very good too.
I think it's Van Morrison's vocals. I mean, it's just when you listen to the regular Pink Floyd version off of The Wall.
Yeah, it's just Roger Waters or David Gilmour, yeah.
And then you listen to this one, the vocals just sound different. To me, it's Van Morrison's vocals. I just think are just really make this track, this version of it.
That's what
stand out.
Yeah, those vocals are more highlighted in the snippets that we hear of it during the film, which is used in two scenes where the safe house that Billy goes to when he's ordered to give his real identity, his social security, or bank numbers and whatnot.
Yeah, it fades in there.
It fades in there. And it's some funny parts in the scene, too, where one of Costello's men, Timothy Fitzgibbons, off the boat psycho, lives in Brockton with his mother. She's straight up going my way.
He has a very Irish accent, too.
Yeah, and he's Scottish in real life, too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
He does the Irish accent well.
And he tries to write Citizens, and Billy corrects him. He's like, what the fuck is this? It's fucking retarded. And Bill's like, I give a fuck. Fuck these guys. Yeah. He tries to get them to leave.
He's like, Citizens? That ain't fucking right.
Mm-hmm.
But it fades in there. And then it goes, it kind of transitions into the love scene with Madeline.
He goes to her apartment. Yeah, she was his police psychiatrist that he was assigned to after he was released from jail. She doesn't know that he's undercover, but he acted up so badly in there that she said she was going to transfer him, and he used that opportunity to get to know her. Like, you're not my doctor anymore. There's no patient-client trust or whatever. We're regular people.
And I actually, misspoke. Because there was a scene before that, I believe it was with Nicholson and at the opera.
Oh yeah.
He says, don't move. He has the two hookers in the
like bed or whatever.
And then he like sprinkles the coke over. He's like, he's like, don't stop moving till you're numb.
Yeah. And then transitions to a song that's called Comfortably Numb.
Yeah, yeah. But these lyrics are pretty crucial too. When I was a child, I caught a fleeting glimpse out of the corner of my eye. Turned to look, but it was gone. I cannot put my finger on it now. The child is grown. The dream is gone. I am become comfortably numb.
Everything you wanted to be when you were a child.
Yeah.
You saw like a brief glimpse of what you could have been, turned away for a second, and it was gone.
And then it kind of...
Then you got to live with it.
Yeah, and it's kind of these two characters, right? Billy's...
Yeah. Billy wants to escape his background, but he can't.
Yeah, and I don't think he really knows what he is anymore, right? I mean, it's kind of like...
Because earlier in the film, we say he's been undercover for over a year at that point.
Yeah, so and Queenan kind of tells him the risks of doing this, though, too, before he decides to become an undercover. He's like, we deal in deception, but we don't deal with self-deception.
Yeah. And then when they kept telling him he's not going to be a cop, they're just saying, you're too smart to be a fucking uniformed trooper. You're better suited for undercover with us.
Yeah, yeah. So, this live version, I always say Pink Floyd is, in my opinion, one of the most creative bands ever. And the way that Roger Waters did this with, so this is off the album called The Wall, by Pink Floyd. Roger Waters being, a member of that band, but then went to do the live version in Germany.
Yeah, during the fall of the Berlin Wall.
And he had the set design is actually like a wall, and he's like, when he's performing the song, he puts a stethoscope up to the wall.
Yeah.
And he's like singing the lyrics. It's just brilliant.
It is. And the guitar solo, the ending guitar solo on the top of the wall, I'm like, yo, this is ill.
Yeah, I like the guitar solo. I think it's done. I will still say the
original one was better.
Yeah, by David Gilmour. The original one was better, but
this one was good too.
Yeah, and being comfortably numb, you see that with Billy's character. He's self-medicating. He's drinking a lot.
He's drinking, taking pills from his aunt that he got, or his mother.
Yeah, because he's just traumatized having to work with this murderer, this mass murderer. Yeah, and all the stress
he has to deal with and witnessing all these murders and being a cop, how he can't do shit about it.
Yeah. Because you find out that Costello is a protected FBI informant later.
Yeah, he learns that too, yeah. There's a scene where he learns that where another music song is playing. We'll get to that soon.
Yeah, the next one we have here is it...
Did we skip past it?
I believe it was Laverne, Tweedledee by... My notes here are all...
Go ahead. I'm listening.
So I think it's Laverne Baker?
Laverne Baker, yeah.
Yeah, Tweedledee.
Yeah, she's using this. It's very poppy and very lighthearted, rhythmic pop songs. And Scorsese has done something like this before, too. Like in Goodfellas when he used, what's it called? With a song by Donovan, Atlantis. Where the scene in Goodfellas where Billy Batts gets beaten by Jimmy Conway and Tommy DeVito in the bar.
Yeah.
They start beating him, pistol whipping, stomping him, and with this song playing in the backdrop, it's like it kind of juxtaposes the lightheartedness of the song and the dark, fucked up shit that's happening in the scene right here.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I didn't. You were lucky that you remember it because I didn't remember the song they used in that scene. But it is like this like lighthearted song, and then you just see Billy Batts just getting his brains beat out.
Yeah,
it just does not work. It's just like very.
It's like, okay, I'm going to remember this song now because of this scene.
Yeah,
and other people have bitten that idea too. Like Quentin Tarantino used it in Reservoir Dogs, and the scene Stuck in the Middle with You, where he's cutting the guy's where Michael Madsen is cutting the dude's ear off and about to set him on fire.
Yeah, the juxtaposition.
Yeah.
It's crazy, man.
And in this scene, in The Departed, it's used where Frank Costello, he shows how unhinged he's becoming. Yeah. He comes out of a bar with like
blood on his hands, blood on his shirt.
Yeah. Like he just like chopped somebody to pieces or chainsawed somebody, and he's casually talking to Billy. You can get out of here. Yeah. No, I'm using another crew tonight. Go on, take the night off.
Yeah. It's just like, dude.
What the fuck just happened?
Yeah. He's like in the bar in front of everybody. He's like, get him up.
Yeah, get him up.
Get him up.
Then French tells Billy, there are guys who answer questions right and there are guys who don't. Which alludes to what Costello did. Maybe some guy that one of his guys didn't answer questions the way Billy did, and then Costello killed him. Yeah.
There's so many like twists and turns like in the plot that it goes back to what I was saying before with I think it was one song that I actually forgot to mention by Howard Shore. It's the Departed Tango. Yeah. You know how we were talking about this, earlier about the use of the string piece, the acoustic guitar. And they name it that because it goes well with this plot. Kind of, there's lots of twists and turns, and there's lots of different changes. Yeah, in a tango.
And the trick is to keep up with it.
Yeah. So.
And there's one more song that I didn't include on here. It was called "Baby Blue" by Badfinger, this British rock band from the '70s. It was used in the scene where Billy and French are also going to shake down another guy who owes him money.
I was watching it today. I think he like shoots the guy in the knee, right?
In the knee, eventually, But at first he just cracks like a crucifix picture of Jesus over the guy's skull. Yeah. While he's watching It's a Wonderful Life, I think. And the song starts playing. It's like, you fucking pay guineas in Providence? Like, fucking now I do. And then he reveals that Costello's an protected FBI informant who trades up all of his people. But then Mr. French is outside, like, lighting fireworks to scare kids away.
And he's like, oh my
God, is that French out there? Like, whatever may be going on in that very fucking limited brain of yours, I am not going to hurt you. I just want to know what you said. I don't know what I said. I'm fucking high right now. And just shoots him in the knee.
He's like, oh.
Costello's a fucking protected FBI informant. He'll trade you up. I thought I was supposed to go with this shark, but I'm not. It fucking hurts.
Yeah, it was... I forgot about that song, and I was watching that scene, and I was like, "What band does this?" So good catch there.
And it was also used in the series finale, the final scene in the series finale for Breaking Bad.
Okay, cool, nice. Mm-hmm. So then we go to Howard Shore, the 344 Wash. So this is an electric guitar driven song used pretty frequently in the film. I'm trying to remember what other scene it was used for. I think it was when Colin was chasing Billy through the.
That was another one. That was in 344 Wash.
Okay.
And 344 Wash refers to the address where Captain Queenan died.
That's it. Yeah.
The abandoned building. Yeah.
Right.
But they used it before that. It was the scene where Billy was in the restaurant at night with Costello, and Costello was questioning him about the rat. You hear it there, but it's very faint. You got to turn the TV up all the way to hear it.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. But it gets higher in intensity with each scene, right? You hear it more and more in each scene. The second time it's used is when Sullivan is by himself after being told by Queenan that you're going to find the mole in our department. So don't be surprised if no one invites you out for beer and invites you to the house for dinner.
Gotcha.
He's in the office by himself, and then questioning at night with Madeline, like, if I was to stuck this out for a year, and I can finally go to law school. I mean, I'm Irish. I'll fucking be sorry for something for the rest of my life.
Gotcha. And I feel like it had kind of electronic, it was like 9 Inch Nails kind of, or maybe Trent
Reznor kind of thing to it. Yeah, because it was just a guitar, really.
Yeah.
And I use it as first on my playlist when I work out too for my cardio. I use it on that as well. And the other time it was used, and the third time it was used was when Queenan was being followed by SIU and goes to the building whose address is 344 Wash.
Yeah. And then Martin Sheen gets thrown. Captain Queenan gets thrown off the building. That's like a real eye opener.
Yeah,
disturbing scene.
But how far Queenan was willing to go, he was not going to snitch on none of his people.
Yeah,
and like the fact, but one of them was in there, Delahunt. He was an undercover cop too. Maybe not at state police, but he was with the Boston Police Department.
Yeah,
he took part in it as well too. But it's like, you just killed a cop, dude. How do you justify this if you ever got to break your cover and go back to your assignment? But luckily, he never found out.
Yeah, and that actor who plays Della Hunt was actually in Aliens. He played Drake.
Mark Ralston, yeah.
Yeah.
He's from Baltimore, actually.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
He was in Rush Hour as well, the first one.
Yeah.
But the final time it's used is when Colin's girlfriend, Madeline, she learns that Colin himself is the rat because of the CD, the Exile on Main Street Rolling Stones CD that Billy mailed to Sullivan. She intercepts it after seeing Billy's name on it and listens to it first. Then when she reveals it, locks herself in the room, Colin listens to it, then he calls Costigan, and that's when you hear the song playing more loudly than it's been in the previous 3 times in the film.
Yeah. Yeah, Howard Shore does an excellent job with the soundtrack.
Yeah, the score and the soundtrack. Yeah,
he did another piece on the score called Beacon Hill, which is it's used a couple of times. I think it's used in the sequence where Billy is talking about his mom passing away. And it's I believe it was also used.
Talks about his mother passing away.
Yeah, when she's in the hospital.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And I think it's
another time when he gets interrogated by Dignam and Queenan outside, where Dignam's like, "Hey, you think you can pop somebody's kind of a special card you can play?" Yeah,
it's used there definitely,
and like intercut with his scenes with Madeline during the therapy,
right, where he's talking about how he's like with a mass
murderer and his hand never shakes.
Yeah, and then they shoot him and like there's that scene where French and him walk in and shoot that guy
with a soda bottle to muffle the sound.
Yeah, and it would definitely fit the vibe there of just like this traumatizing experience and sad experience.
And you see how traumatized he is during that same intercuts of scenes as well too. When he's in his place by himself, takes his Aunt Kathy's pills of oxycodone, takes a whole bunch and then downs them like a bottle of like Sprite. I think it was.
Yeah. So then I think towards the end of the film, or I'm sorry, not the end, but actually what's towards the end of the film, it's that shootout scene before they go to the warehouse. They play the Dropkick Murphys. They play
as they're driving towards the warehouse. And he's like, "Get rid of the fucking tail."
Yeah, and he's like, "Okay."
And he goes and tells him about it anyway. It's a chance to get rid of him now that I know he's an FBI informant.
Yeah.
And the shootout scene that happened where Queenan died, where the cop said Sullivan sent to follow Queenan. There's a fucking body came off the roof side. You want us to get on it? We gotta get on foot if you want to go. No, do not pursue. Stay in the car. I need some fucking information. What came off of the roof? Don't fucking pursue. Oh, fuck this. And he gets out of the car and starts shooting. It's like,
oh, jeez. Yeah.
And that's how exactly how Matt Damon looked when he could hear everything over the walkie-talkie. He's like, what the fuck? I told him not to do shit.
He just turns off the light.
It turns off the lights. Like, this is on you. When it gets back, this is all on you, dude. You got Queenan killed.
Yeah. I love this movie. I'm so glad Scorsese finally got recognized for an Academy Award.
For Best Director for winning it, yes.
Yeah. Thelma Shoemaker for editing.
Mm-hmm.
She was excellent.
William Monahan, he wrote the screenplay.
Okay.
Yeah, he won the award for Best Adapted Screenplay.
I think it'll be interesting that, The Irishman, because I think Steve Zalian wrote it.
Yeah.
So I think it should be, I hope it's good, man. You have a lot of great actors there. Pesci, De Niro, Pacino.
Yeah, that's going to be good.
Reunite again.
For a long time, over 20 years, I'm glad they're back together.
Yeah, but hey, man, I'm glad we got a chance to talk about this. This was awesome, and
Me too.
We'll have to do another episode soon.
We'll have to do one soon. We definitely enjoy these, man.
All right, take care, man.
No doubt.
This podcast is available on iTunes, SoundCloud, Acast, Google Music, Stitcher. So if you don't mind, please leave a review and give me some feedback. I'd really appreciate that. If you'd like to connect with me on social media, I'm on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I'm also on Untapped. My username is Brewtuned. This is Andrew signing off. Cheers. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to the channel and follow Roadtunes Reviews on Blogger, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And as always, thank you so much for your support.